Rev up your engines! Today we're going to talk about the Ford Bronco. And in the case of this Bronco, you can win it. If you think vehicles cost too much these days, well, I tend to agree with you. But this Bronco is part of a conservation raffle. It's by the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Foundation. Pick a Bronco if you want. Now the tickets are only 20 bucks a piece. If you bundle them, you get them a little bit cheaper. I mean, it's a good thing anyways for the Tennessee Wildlife Conservation. It's like a $20 donation that maybe you'll win this thing. Or a nice bass boat with a trailer and a motor and everything. I'm gonna buy a few, see what happens. Maybe you'll see me driving around one of these things that I don't have to pay for. And now on to the truck. This is a Ford Bronco. The first thing you want to understand is there's the Ford Bronco, and then there's the Ford Bronco Sport. The regular Bronco, not the Sport, and this is the first edition. It is four-wheel drive. It's an actual truck-based vehicle. It's a full frame with the body on top, bolted on. This is an actual truck frame, and these are made in Michigan. If you were thinking, oh, what about the Ford Bronco Sport? Now, sport sounds like it's sportier, right? Well, in this case, the exact opposite is true. Bronco Sports are made in Mexico, not the greatest place to build cars. You can get different engines, but the base engine is a stinking little 3-cylinder engine. Now, it's turbocharged, but it's a little bitty 3-cylinder engine. They don't offer that in the regular Broncos, and I think it's a good thing they don't. This has a 2.7 liter V6 EcoBoost engine with 2 turbochargers on it. GDI fuel injection. Puts out 335 horsepower. It's a very powerful engine. You're not going to worry about power in this thing. It's not a little bitty 3-cylinder engine that even with a turbo isn't as powerful, and of course it won't last as long. And the regular Bronco, as I said, is a full frame. The Bronco Sport is just one of those dumb unibody things. It's made in Mexico. There is no solid frame. It's all one piece. Ford doesn't call it unibody. They give it some other stupid name, but it's unibody. The whole thing is one piece. There is no actual frame. It's cheaper to make them that way. And actually, they'll get a little bit better gas mileage because they weigh less. But you don't buy a vehicle like this for gas mileage. This thing came from Nashville to Clarksville on a highway. It got about 18 miles a gallon. It's rated at 17. These are not gas miser vehicles, especially one that has 4-wheel drive. It is a classic Bronco. It's a big vehicle, got a lot of room inside. There's a bucking Bronco. We'll start it up. And as you can see, it's got all the bells and whistles on it. Here comes the Mustang, and it is a real 4-wheel drive vehicle. You can put it in 2 high, 4 low, 4 high. And interestingly enough, this is Ford's 4-wheel automatic system, which is more like an all-wheel drive system, and you can put it in that if you want. And of course, unlike the old Broncos, everything on this is electronic. Got a bunch of power aux you can use for computers and phones, dual climate control. The owner's manual even comes out on this thing. Nobody prints anything these days. Everything is done by computer. Of course, it's got all the controls on the steering wheel, so it's at your fingertip. You don't have to search around for them. And everything's done electronically. Touch buttons, you can disconnect, stabilization stuff. And check it out, you push this button here, and it's going to 4x4 shift, and you can lock the differential if you're stuck somewhere in the mud. Another button, and you get trail turn assist in 4 low or 4 high. And you press this button, you can turn the traction control off if you want to drive like a maniac. All that stuff you had to do manually in the old Bronco, get out, locking diffs and stuff, this is all done electronically from inside the cab. As you can see, he wasn't lying. You got 18.4 miles a gallon driving here on the highway. It tells you got 194 miles to empty if you stay on the highway and get that kind of gas mileage. It even warns you not to leave children in the back seat. Yes, the machines are telling us what to do. It's raining today, but if it wasn't raining, I'd take the top off. So you got a nice topless vehicle here. Really like the back because it's very user-friendly. Look, you can easily get in, and you want to move stuff in and out. Voila! Look at that. You don't have to worry about reaching over a gate or something coming up hitting you in the head. Very well designed for entering and exiting. Of course, since the top comes off, it's got a nice roll bar built in it too. It's a pretty well designed vehicle. And even in the back, you got some power outlets. You can push the seats down, have a lot of carrying space. Or if you're going out in the woods, bringing equipment, you can throw a lot of stuff in here. Now, this might look like a giant kid's toy with these giant Goodyear 17-inch tires and blacked out wheels, but it's certainly not built like a toy. Listen to this thing. That's solid. Even though it's got a removable roof. Airbags all over the place. You got a lot of pull-offs here so you can get power for the kids in the back. And as you can see here, look how easy the seats fold down. Slide. That is easy work. Now bolting, unbolting, when you put it back, just slide it back. It's that easy. And that's because they made the front seat have a whole bunch of leeway. Look at this. We'll make it go back. Look how far the travel is. This has a tremendous amount of travel so you can get things in and out when you need to. And if you happen to be rather short in stature, well, you can pull that seat up real far so you can drive it. For the maniacs running in and out, you can pull yourself in and out real fast. They even have little cargo carriers in the side in case you take the roof off so stuff doesn't blow away. And a nice handhold in the front too. So let's take it for a ride and check it out. Look at the light show this thing puts out. And check out the screen. I don't know what this is, but it looks cool. This is the main screen. What's it doing? Oh, it's building a bucking Bronco. Every time you open the door, you get a little show there, and then you got meteor showers going on here. Hey, I could just sit in this thing and look at it all day long. So let's start this baby up. Quiet as can be. And yes, not only does it have the backup camera, but it's got the side camera, so I won't run into the back of the driveway. And in this case, there's a precipitous drop, and we don't want to fall off of it. I really like this aspect. And they're real cameras, because check it out. Look, there's a piece of paper. Well, there it is outside. Now, of course, you're up in the air in this thing. That's what these things are about. And with that V6 engine with twin turbos, it gets up and goes. There's no arguing that. And yes, it's a 4x4. It is a Bronco. I mean, it steers decently. It's not a racing car. It's too high up in the air. You don't want to overtake those 330 horsepower and flip this thing over. It does have stability control, though. I would not turn it off in this vehicle when I'm driving it. I'd leave it on. Now, this thing was made for going off-road, but I'm not going off-road because it's not my vehicle. It's somebody else's. We'll just take it for a little country drive here. We're coming up to our little drag strip line here that the locals have painted. Let's wait till everybody's out of the way and let's see what this thing can do. Hey, Mark, get set, go. Nice acceleration, smooth shifting, feels really stable on the road too. Now, yeah, it's relatively noisy because it's a four-wheel drive vehicle with giant loud tires that you can drive in the mud. You don't buy these things for silence or gas mileage. You can hear that V6 kick in. Doesn't make the V8 noise, but what the heck, it makes some noise. And considering that it's built on a solid frame, I forecast these things are gonna last a long time. And my grandson just bought an old Ford F100, and that frame was still solid on it. You want something that's going to last a long time, you want a solid frame. Yeah, you're going to get a little bit worse gas mileage, but a vehicle like this, that's four-wheel drive, is going to get relatively weak gas mileage. That's because of aerodynamics, weight, the power. You don't get it for gas mileage. Only thing I don't like is it's got that auto on-off, and it's turned the engine off while we're waiting for the light. You can't have everything. It transitioned pretty fast. It started the engine up pretty quickly. I didn't really notice much. At least they got those systems so they're not as clunky as they used to be. And of course, it's got the modern, telling you what the speed limit is, which we just exceeded. It definitely has a very solid feel to it. It does not feel cheap and chintzy because of that full frame. And I really like the front corners of the vehicle. On the left and the right front, you can really stay in your lane and use those as markers. Kind of like flying an old fighter plane, you know? You got something to get a good direction of what you're aiming at. But there it goes again, it shut the engine off. Well, it makes it quieter when you're sitting there. And here we go. You can see the transition is not that bad from no engine to starting it up. Got that system better than it used to be. Although I still don't believe that turning your engine on and off all the time is good for the engine. It's just going to wear things out faster. Although I do have to say, I don't believe this 18.5 mile average, because I've been driving like a maniac and the average should have been going down. And it is not going down, so it's obviously not refreshing itself all that well. Back in the day when I had a Shelby Cobra, when I drove around like this, I was getting 4 miles a gallon. There's no way this thing's actually getting 18.5 miles a gallon. Not refreshing at all. Like like right now, it should be going down, and it's staying the same. So I really don't believe that rating at all. Especially considering that this four-wheel drive system is only rated at 17 best. And I'm driving like a lunatic. So don't always believe what it says on the dash. Now, if you want to try to win one, hey, just check out the information. The tickets are only 20 bucks. You could win this, you could win a boat, a bunch of other things. But for everyone else who may not win it, only one person's going to win it, right? You learn a little bit more about them. Solid frame, big engine, all kinds of electronics, automatically locking differentials electronically, so you don't have to get out of the vehicle. Made in Michigan with a full frame. Just don't confuse it with the Ford Bronco Sport. Same name, completely different vehicle. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.